This is a Universal Sports Network original. The following presentation contains graphic descriptions. Viewer discretion is advised. What is a warrior? By definition, it is a person who shows great courage and valor. There are many types, but at their core, a warrior is the same. One who fights for nation, for family, for each other. They are a passionate breed of proud Americans who advance forward without question, knowing that one day they may make the ultimate sacrifice. They are a band of brothers and sisters that possess an unspoken yet unbreakable bond. They share an unflappable bedrock conviction and mission accomplished. They know with a look in the eye of a fellow Marine, soldier, airman, or seaman that they've truly discovered the best of themselves. In the most crucial moments, they have shown what they can truly be. The nature of the job is defined by danger, and in the course of what they do, warriors get hurt. Sometimes in ways most cannot understand. Some live with scars that the world can see. For some, it's the pain on the inside that can be the hardest to endure. No matter how tough they may be, no matter how strong they are, mentally and physically, when a warrior is wounded, they need healing. During those times, they seek a reason to continue. They seek a purpose for life. And for many of those warriors, sports can be that answer. Sports can heal, physically, mentally, spiritually. Athletic competition in its own way can recreate those bonds for men and women to forge together to reach goals that were once thought unattainable.
I've done more. I think I've done more being in this situation that I'm in now than I did when I was able-bodied.
For the wounded men and women of the United States military, the pinnacle of sport is the Warrior Games, a yearly Olympic-style competition for wounded veterans. Earning their right to compete at the Warrior Games represents all that made them elite in the first place.
No one gets a medal for where they were hurt or how they were hurt. And we all understand that we each have an injury, but it doesn't matter how you got it. It's just what you're doing now. Like, how are you moving forward to better yourself, better the team, better our country?
Countless hours of training, suffering through the pain, sacrificing to become the best. The Warrior Games gives them a mission. It gives them a purpose to continue their fight.
It's about us coming together. It's about us realizing that, you know what, even though we might be retired or we might not be that same person, we can reach that new 100%. We can be part of the services again. You can be part of the family again.
The 5 branches of the military bring forth their elite, their best wounded warriors, to suit up once more and represent their brothers and sisters in competitions that heal. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the United States Special Operations Command. A total of 200 wounded veterans come together for a purpose greater than themselves. 200 individual stories, 200 tales of valor and bravery. 200 individuals who have chosen once again to help one another.
We got amputees, we got mental health. There's so many different varieties of injuries. But that camaraderie, that esprit de corps, that togetherness when we come here, it's just, it's like you're back out in the fleet. You got your team, you got your Marines. We're going to the fight together. We're going to the Warrior Games. We're going to win.
Over the course of 7 days, this competition will change lives. Those who thought there was no hope will see a new world of possibilities.
Adaptive sports gives me a new goal. After setting the bar and getting knocked down again by that bullet, through sports, I'm able to find a new height to set the bar at, and climb back up to it.
Not one person at the Warrior Games has finished their fight, but their presence, their determination, their spirit at the Warrior Games proves that their battle may not be over, but their fight continues.
In my career field, we've got a saying, these things we do that others may live. And it's basically saying that, you know what, we're going to go anywhere. We're going to do whatever we got to do to pick up our guys, rescue them, and bring them back. I was an aerial gunner in Combat Search and Rescue. I was out of the 66th Combat Search and Rescue Squadron in Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. And we're going and we're landing a 22,000-pound helicopter in the middle of a firefight, picking up dead and wounded, and returning them back. And hopefully we're bringing back more boys alive. When the first 2 missions happened, I knew something was going on because we were getting called to the same fob. And then when the third one dropped and the sun is up, and it's to the same fob again, that feeling comes over you where it's like, man, this is going to be a long day. It's going to be one of those days that you see on the news of a base trying to be overrun and just getting hit all day long. It's going to be a very long day. We went ahead and trucked our way into the LZ, popped up to our gun pattern, and then we're scanning the area, and we don't see any gunshots. We don't see anything. In fact, the whole area just seems dead. Nothing was happening. So we decided to spin in our 2-ship, because we fly in 2 ships, for our lead ship and our back ship. That's how we fly. And we're spinning in our 2-ship, and we're swinging, passing through their tail to cover them in case something bad does happen. And that's when we came under fire. And they got the luckiest shot that they could, and they hit us at the most vulnerable spot. The last thing that happened was I remember the centrifugal force was so hard, the window strap was digging into my hand, and I could barely hold on to my weapon, and my legs were getting thrown back and into the cabin, and I could barely lift my head up because of the centrifugal force. And when I finally got my head up and to look out, all I saw was a clear patch of ground below us, and I called clear to the ground left, and as soon as I said that, my pilot came back with an auto rotate, and he dumped the collective, and we came screaming down to the earth. We were at 150 feet at 120 knots, spinning out of control when he tried to nose us over, and we started screaming to the earth, and I could remember seeing the ground just rushing up, rushing up, rushing up. So we wound up impacting the ground at 120 knots from 150 feet. I remember seeing the ground just rushing up to me, and it just came right up to my window. You know, we just hit the ground hard, and I'm opening up my eyes again, and everything's quiet. I mean, just deathly quiet. And I'm hanging halfway out my window, and for some reason, I'm not even trying to move. And I turn my head, and I see my pilots leaning over their seats, not moving. I look into the back, and I see my team, and I know they're dead. And I know my friend, he was alive for a little bit, and then he died. So in my head, we were all dead. You know, it was just, we were dead. And I'll be honest with you, it was probably the most peaceful place I've ever been in my life. You know, just knowing that I was going to die. You know, there was no fear. I couldn't even feel the pain. I mean, I was just waiting to die. I was waiting to go with my brothers. And my last job as a gunner on Pedro 66 was to let this helicopter burn, to keep the enemy away from us, and that was going to be our tomb.
And we were all going to go to heaven together. We weren't going to feel sadness. We weren't going to be hungry again. We weren't going to be scared. We were all going to go. And that was my last job. I was closing the door. I was hitting the lights on the way out. And that didn't happen. I had passed out. I didn't know how bad my injuries were, but right at the point of impact, I had broken my ankle, I had a fractured femur, broke my hip, broke my tailbone, I broke my back in 5 spots, 4 broken ribs, sternum, collarbone, jaw. I had a brain injury. My lung was punctured, so I couldn't breathe right, and I had a tear in my upper left hamstring. And the engine and transmission from the helicopter came crushing down, pinning me, and it set my legs on fire, so I was on fire. And so eventually, I passed out from that, only to be woken up by debris and some people walking to the helicopter. So when I raised my head, you know, I tried to do it as slowly as possible to see who it was so I can get the drop on them. And it turned out to be my 2-ship. They had landed, and the team, Pedro 67's team, was now making their way to my helicopter. And I got even more scared then, because then I realized I had the chance to lose even more friends. You know, if the day wasn't bad enough already to where I lost my whole crew, now I got a chance to lose some more friends from Pedro 67. So my heart, like, just literally dropped. And, but I knew they weren't going to stop. So I looked up and I told them, hey, I'm alive, I'm alive. And they immediately rushed over to me, you know, asked me what's going on. I told them my legs were on fire. They put my legs out. Mark Lamar's then jumps into the cabin where there was a fire, and we had 50 cal rounds and it was going off and flares going off, and he begins to try to cut me out of the helicopter. Lucas Ferrari is working on the pilots up front to get them out, and Doug Dickens is out securing the area, working with any air that's coming into the area. So those 3 are, you know, they're the reason why I'm alive right now. So. Well, recovery was the hardest part. You know, the easy way out would be to go back to that helicopter and just let me burn and die. That would have been easy. You know, every day is tough. You know, I remember waking up from that helicopter, from my coma, and the first thing I saw was my mom, and I was scared because I thought she was in Afghanistan, and it turns out I was in Texas. It was 10 days later. But to wake up and you think it's the 8th of June and you don't remember anything that happened on the 9th of June, and it's really the 15th of June, and in your head you're like, wow, I ran 6 miles yesterday. Why can't I get up and walk 5 feet to go use the restroom? And you look down at your legs and everything's burned, and you can see through parts of it and muscles showing, and you know, you wake up to already having some amputations done. And, you know, you can't really move to right. You can't talk right because you have a punctured lung, you have a broken back, and you can't even open up your mouth. And then you start going into surgeries, and you know, surgery after failed surgery after failed surgery. After a while, you know, after you've already, you know, talked to God in your head and said, God, you know, hey, take me and bring my team back, or take me and bring one of them back. And, you know, that's not going to happen. After a while, you start pleading to God that, you know, just, hey, this next surgery, just let me sleep. You know, I don't want to wake up anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. And you don't want to go. You know, you don't want to go on anymore because your whole life is just completely off track. If it wasn't for the staff, if it wasn't for my family, if it wasn't for the doctors and everybody, my friends back home, my squadron back home that always sent people to the hospital to spend a week with me,
I don't know what would have happened to me. I think I would have just given up, and I would have, I probably would have wound up dead in some room with a bullet in my head. No matter how hard I have it, it could have been worse. It could be very worse. And there's guys with worse injuries than what I've got that are doing more than what I'm doing right now. So if I was dead and one of my friends was in my position, I would want him to do everything in his power to excel, everything that he could. If he can try it, or if he thinks he can try it, hell, even if he doesn't think he can try it anyways. If he doesn't think he can succeed at it, try it anyways. And so that's what I'm doing. Every day, no matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to push as hard as I can, and maybe I'll surprise myself. Maybe I can do something more than what I couldn't have done before. And I'm not going to try stopping every success that I make. Isn't just mine, it's theirs as well. So I'm not going to stop. I hired Mel Batterman from M Fitness, and she basically got me from a wheelchair with a little bit of walking, and then worked with me on everything from hand-eye coordination. I had to learn how to walk again, and she got me walking again. She got my hand-eye coordination going again. She got me running again, and 6 months with her, I was finally able to take the Air Force PT program, and I passed with a 92 with no waivers or profiles or anything. I did my push-ups, sit-ups, waist measurement, and I ran that 1.5 miles in 11 minutes, 27 seconds. Everything became a race with myself, where they'd say, hey, you can, after this amputation, you'll be able to run in 6 months. Well, then I'm going to hit it in 3, or you can walk in 3 months. Well, I'll hit it in 2 weeks. Everything was always pushing myself, pushing forward, pushing harder, and I still do that now. It's always a race. It's always pushing myself. When people tell me, oh, I can't do this because so and so, and I'm just like, that's a mindset. If somebody tells you you can't do something, that doesn't mean you can't try. If you're not, unless you're going to seriously injure yourself, what's stopping you from trying? And unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays, they give up without trying, and I don't have patience for that. If somebody tells me I can't do something, why? I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't squat 300 pounds. Why? Let me try. I did.